Employment, especially formal employment, has been a cause of concern even as other signs of recovery in the economy have been going strong. So we keep looking at various indicators to track where we are in terms of generation of jobs. So the Monster Index was out this week and talked about an improvement in almost all sectors of jobs. This is a monthly index and one of the many indicators that we track regularly. And this one shows that especially month on month, we have seen an improvement in various sectors. For example, even tourism, hospitality and these sectors which were pummeled the most by COVID-19 have seen a good improvement. Let's get into some of those details of what exactly this index tells us for hiring in the month of July and what the broader picture is. Sekhar Garisa, the CEO of Monster, is with me on the show. Sekhar, great to have you on the India Development Debate. Give us a snapshot first of what the index says this month.
Thanks, Tamanna. Thank you for having me here. Like I said, for the past few months, we've been witnessing steady but good positive trends in terms of jobs coming back into the market. There are obviously sectors that we can all imagine which bounced back the earliest. We've all spoken about the demand in IT, hardware and telecom fields earlier, even in logistics. But there were some sectors which were still yet to recover from the impact of pandemic. You rightly pointed out travel and tourism, hospitality, offline education was another one where we saw numbers go significantly down. What Monster Employment Index does, and we've been doing this for over 11 years now, we syndicate data across the entire universe, not just from Monster in terms of jobs being posted all the time, and we aggregate this data into different buckets of sectors, industries, experience levels, locations, etc., which gives us a clear sense of where the job market is moving. This month, again, we have reported that compared to last month, the overall jobs have gone up by 4%. If you look at it from an overall level, IT continues to grow, mid-level, senior level recruitment continues to be probably the healthiest ever. What was most heartening to see is travel and tourism and hospitality for the first time in the past 12 to 14 months showing a hike in terms of opportunities. That was very heartening to see. I think the only one left from our perspective to see numbers going up is offline education. I guess with schools opening, and I guess several states have said that schools will open now, we'll hopefully see those numbers as well.
Yeah, so when kids go back to school, possibly those numbers will be going up as well. So some of the key numbers which caught my eye, one is that hiring demand has increased by 10% in the last 3 months. No surprises with IT and hardware sector growths at close to 40%, but also year on year, hiring for top management has jumped 69%. Now, I know, Sekhar, that the base effect comes into play because July 2020 was a dead month, so to speak, for employment in the middle of the pandemic, first wave lockdown, etc. But what does this tell us? Does this tell us that companies are now beginning to expand, maybe add more divisions, which is why they need top management?
Absolutely. I think what we've clearly seen is demand for experienced professionals across skill sets has been on the rise and probably the healthiest ever. What we've also witnessed while we've been talking about pandemic and the impact of pandemic on employment at certain levels, we should also not forget that in the past year, we've created more unicorns than we've ever created in the past so many years. So there has been money available for companies to invest and grow. We know how public markets have been growing consistently over the past 12 to 14 months. So all of that resulted in companies trying to grow aggressively. There's also a sentiment in the market now that the pandemic hopefully behind us now for good. Every single company is looking at growth opportunities, which means they're looking for expansion in their leadership roles, about how we can bring in the right kind of talent who would take them to the next level of growth. At any point in time, when you see someone raising $50 million, $100 million, it also means creation of several leadership positions. And if you see the base of the leadership positions itself would be low. So when suddenly you start companies looking to grow aggressively, the first thing they will do is to go and find leaders who can take them towards the target. And that's what we've been witnessing. While entry-level hiring has been sluggish almost until a couple of months back when it regained positive trend, the mid and senior level hiring has been on fire for the last 3 to 6 months.
Wow. Is the salaries that are being offered, are the salaries that are being offered in line with the increase in hiring trends? Is there any data that you can share on that?
Absolutely. I think, in IT, you speak to anyone who is at this point in time looking to hire IT talent, you would know that this is probably the toughest time ever to hire IT talent. Never been a better time to be a techie. But it's probably too late for you and me to become one, but never been a better time to become a techie. The salary levels for for some of these roles, the increments that people are getting when they're making switches, the kind of options that people have when they're looking for jobs is just mind-boggling, to the extent that the war for talent is absolutely real. And there are jokes floating around that we should probably look at low-cost locations like Silicon Valley to hire some tech talent. It's just absolutely crazy. But that's just one side of the story. The other side of the story, with respect to the other non-IT related roles, we do have to say that the salary increments have been subdued, but they've definitely gone up. They've definitely gone up in the past 3 months. We are hearing more and more candidates telling us that they've been receiving their incentives, variable pays, appraisals have happened, and increments have happened. So all in all, it's a good story. But if you are a tech professional, there's just been no better time to be a tech professional in this country than now.
Yeah, if you're a tech professional, then you're in the most wanted list, no doubt, and exciting times. What about in cities, Sekhar? Are we seeing hiring petering out in tier 2, or are those still going strong? Are the metros still leading? And what about remote location jobs? Are they still a trend?
Absolutely. I think almost every single job now, I think there's a question that internally organizations are asking: is there a need for us, for the person to be in the same location as the organization is or not? And almost all the IT jobs we're seeing, almost 30% of the jobs that are getting posted on Monster itself are being the requirement is being location agnostic. So people can stay pretty much where they are and start working. In fact, we're seeing a lot of candidates asking for this flexibility, because a lot of them have moved locations during the pandemic to their hometowns, and and there's a reluctance to come back for some of them, and so they would like to explore jobs which offer them that kind of a flexibility to stay wherever they are. So location flexibility is a big thing almost across the organizations. Almost for every role there is an active dialogue: do we need the person to be in the same location as us or not? Secondly, to your earlier question in terms of location-wise, earlier a quarter back we reported that we're seeing increased hiring. In tier 2, tier 3 towns, people are there, stationed there, but are able to work wherever they want. So from that perspective, the supply is there. What we also seeing is the metros have bounced back a bit. If you look at the data for this month, across the board, if you take the top 4 metros, the hiring levels have significantly gone up. But the only metro we haven't seen numbers go up, is Kolkata. Except for Kolkata, almost every other city has seen a big hike in terms of jobs being reported for this month. So the metros are back. But come to think of it, while we report that the jobs are being offered by companies based in Bangalore, there's no guarantee that the job is in Bangalore. Almost all of them are saying, from a tech perspective, they're location agnostic.
Yeah, absolutely. Another interesting point that I saw was that the healthcare sector actually has seen a decline in jobs being posted and in hiring, perhaps because of the pandemic, and this you're comparing year on year, so a decline of 12%.
Yeah.
Do you look at that sustaining?
Yeah, I think, see, that was one surprising finding of, and we actually went back to check our data on that, just to be sure. What's happened is it has seen a huge spike at the same time last year, because we are reporting year-on-year numbers. Compared to what it was last June, July, we're seeing a drop in the numbers. But every other indicator seems to suggest that as we move from firefighting mode in healthcare to a more structural improvement, we definitely see the hiring going back up. In fact, you would have noticed our parent company, Quest Group, has actually launched a large healthcare vertical just last month. So, the sentiment is that, there will be a lot of hiring in healthcare. There's still shortage of, skilled people in this sector. But compared to last July, the jobs this July have gone down, and that you can explain away because last July there was a mad rush to find as many healthcare professionals as anyone can because of the pandemic situation.
So if I asked you overall, compared to pre-pandemic levels, 2019, let me take all of this back to 2019 because 2020 was an anomaly year and July 2020 was an anomaly month. Have we, in terms of hiring trends, come back to pre-pandemic levels?
Yes, we did. I think, if I were to go back in time and kind of completely erase the pandemic numbers, the year of the pandemic, we have gone back to the times that we were before at an overall level. But at a sector level, as we've just spoken, there are sectors which are definitely over the levels of 2019. There are some sectors where we are still, lagging behind the 2019 numbers. But at an overall level, we're back to pre-pandemic levels. When what the benchmark that we usually look at is Jan-Feb of 2020, before the pandemic, and we're back to those numbers now.
All right, that's good to hear. Let's hope we continue strong. Thank you so much, Sekhar, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Tamanna. Thank you so much.